What's up guys, welcome back to Fibs Reacts. I just saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let's talk about it. So right off the bat, I just have to say this movie really surprised me. When it was first announced that they were going to be making a fourth Spider-Man movie, I don't know, like it kind of felt unnecessary to me. You know, I feel like they really kind of ended on a nice note with No Way Home, with the long streak of Marvel movies, which I think we could all agree have been less than satisfactory over the past couple years. Deciding to make a fourth Spider-Man movie kind of felt like a bit of a cash grab. I was even skeptical at some of the first trailers that we got for this movie. It didn't really excite me very much, and honestly some of the shots from the trailers looked AI, and that really kind of made me nervous for this movie. And even some of the posters that came out for this movie, I know a lot of people were absolutely glazing some of these posters, but I don't like them. A lot of these do actually look AI. And also just the title of the movie itself, you know, Brand New Day. And I know that there is a Spider-Man comic called Brand New Day, but I don't know, like that kind of sounds like a book title that like a 5-year-old would come up with. But all of that being said, I have to say, and I am very pleased to say so, this is a great movie. Now, just to preface, there will be spoilers in this video. I just wanted to let everyone know. But getting into it, man, this movie actually looks great. And I would say the web swinging in particular in this movie is fantastic. It really reminds me of like the Andrew Garfield web swinging. It's just really fast paced. It's dynamic. It's almost like the web swinging you would see in like the Spider-Man PS4 game. And it also kind of gives you that like first person perspective, the kind of GoPro footage of Spider-Man swinging, which was also kind of something that we saw in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And I would also like to talk about the suit. This suit is amazing. It really reminded me a lot of the Spider-Man suit that we saw in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Despite what you might think about that movie in general, you can't lie, that Spider-Man suit is pretty damn cool. And this suit is no different. It really stripped the Spider-Man suit of a lot of that kind of MCU-ification, really just gave you that old-fashioned classic Spider-Man costume. I would say this suit and the movie in general, and this overall personification of Spider-Man really gives you more of that kind of friendly neighborhood Spider-Man as opposed to Iron Boy. Tom Holland is at his best in this movie. I think he delivers a fantastic performance. There's a real sense of maturity about him in this movie. And I think, you know, part of it is, you know, not only the actor himself now being a lot older, but also the character of Peter Parker, you know, being out of high school. You know, he just has a more kind of serious tone to him. And I think that really kind of works. At the same time, you do get a lot of those classic Spider-Man quips and humor. But that being said, it's not dumb humor. Like, it's not stupid humor. It's not James Gunn humor. Now, to talk about some of the cameos that we get in this movie, I would say the one that surprised me the most was Florence Pugh as Black Widow. Now, I had seen some rumors that she was going to be in this movie, and I saw that she was at one of the premieres for this movie. But yes, she does make a return, and basically Peter Parker has a brief meeting with her and seeing if she has any possible insight into this new threat. And we first see Florence Pugh in this movie in a hot tub. Listen, bro. Listen, Peter, listen to me. If you were to walk in and you see Florence Pugh in a hot tub and she tells you in her sexy ass Russian accent to strip and get into the hot tub with her, bro, there is only one correct answer to that. Next, I wanted to talk about Jon Bernthal returning as Punisher.
Oh, why don't you take naps? I don't take naps, man.
I swear, Jon Bernthal was born to play the Punisher. And I really like the dynamic between him and Spider-Man. And I feel like it really translates to Jon Bernthal's relationship with Tom Holland in real life. There's really this kind of older brother to younger brother kind of dynamic between those two characters. Also, just had to mention the shot where Punisher brings Spider-Man into the hospital. I mean, holy shit, ripped right from the page of Civil War. Really glad we got to see Punisher make his way to the big screen. Hopefully sometime soon we get to see that Daredevil Spider-Man team up. Another appearance in this movie was Bruce Banner. I was so happy with the way the Hulk was eventually portrayed in this movie. Because basically Bruce Banner has made this invention that helps suppress the Hulk and kind of helps him control it better. He starts out as more of the smart Hulk persona that we saw in like the last two Avengers movies. But then once we get like the definitive Hulk, and he even says in the movie, no more Banner, only Hulk. And he even like grows larger. Hey, yo! I mean, we haven't seen this version of the Hulk. I mean, just pure rage since I would say like Age of Ultron. And finally, probably the most notable character that we got in this movie being Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. Now, unfortunately, because, you know, people suck, I was unfortunately spoiled of this cameo in this movie before having seen it. And I just, man, like, I just don't know why people just have to ruin it for everybody else. It's like some of us don't have the luxury of seeing an early screening of the, like some of us don't have the luxury of seeing it the Wednesday before it comes out. Like not everybody has the privilege of seeing the movie early. So that being said, don't be posting spoilers everywhere. But yeah, I knew that Sadie Sink would be playing Jean Grey before having seen the movie, which kind of sucks because I feel like if I didn't know that, it would have made for even a more exciting surprise that the MCU is finally bringing in the X-Men. But anyway, all of that being said, I did not expect Jean Grey to be basically the main villain of this movie. And I gotta say, man, she can be a total demon in this movie. Like, I would say the most notable moment of just like pure evil was when Peter Parker is just trying to keep MJ safe, and they're on top of that building and they're kind of talking to each other, and MJ is like, you know, I remember you, you know, and she starts talking about like all of these memories of like being saved by Spider-Man. And then it's like she lifts up his mask and kisses him, and then fully takes off his mask, and they kiss, and they have this really touching moment. And by the way, the whole time this is happening, I'm like,
hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Like this just seems too good to be true. Like there is something off here. And then when they're having that moment, and then she's like, go ahead, Peter, hold her, kiss her. I was like, you fucking demon, Jean Grey. Like, bro, I would have snapped. That's some messed up shit. And listen, I know that by the end of the movie, you know, she helps save Peter's life. She kind of has this like come to Jesus moment. But at the same time, I'm like, still, listen, Professor X, whenever you do find her, you better keep an eye on her ass. Because when she does eventually go Dark Phoenix, it's, that's not going to be pretty. The thing that I really liked about this movie was it really kind of put Peter through the ringer. You know, not only having all these physical changes and his powers and his abilities kind of morphing and going through all these different evolutions, but also just his personal struggles and trying to understand like the sacrifices made of just being a hero. And I think they very well portrayed, you know, I think in essence just going through a breakup. And ironically, and this is getting kind of personal here, but when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I was also going through a really tough breakup. And it's kind of funny how it all worked out, because at the same time I was going through a breakup, you know, when that movie came out and, you know, Peter kind of had to make the sacrifice that MJ would no longer be his girlfriend and she would kind of forget who he was and all that kind of stuff. Needless to say, I was very emotional watching that movie, and I haven't really revisited it just because it brings up tough memories for me. And so now that it's been years later, and it almost feels like I've been on the same kind of journey as Peter Parker, and just, you know, going through breakups and what that's like, you know. And there's even that moment in this movie where MJ finds the note that Peter had written for her, or I guess the words that he would eventually say to her. And he basically just lays it all out for her and is like, in the end says, you know, like, I love you. And then she basically says, I'm sure that version of me did love you very much, but I don't have any memories of that. I don't love you. And bro, man, that was pulling on the heartstrings too for me. But all that being said, I really liked how there was this sense of kind of reconnection between Peter and Ned and MJ. And even at the very, very end of the movie where Peter sees Ned and he introduces himself and they kind of share their signature handshake and Ned remembers it. And then he remembers Peter. I think that was a really great moment. But what I will say is I kind of feel like Peter and MJ, on the other hand, theirs was kind of left more open-ended. Like, I kind of thought by the end of it, you know, they would share a moment and then she would eventually like remember him and then they would maybe share a kiss and then happily ever after. But it's like the last time that they saw each other, at least in this movie, was, you know, Spider-Man leaving their apartment and she was like, be careful. And that's like the last time they had any kind of interaction. And so it's like you kind of get the vibe, like you kind of get the idea that, you know, she's starting to kind of come around a bit and she's starting to kind of remember. But I don't know, like I kind of wish there was more of just a more satisfying ending, like for those two characters. But maybe that's something we'll see at some point in the future. Anyway, that being said, this movie's just really great. I would very much encourage you to go see it. It's fun, it's action-packed, it's very emotional, it hits all the beats. A really solid Spider-Man movie. I mean, really just kind of brings you back to that classic, almost like Sam Raimi Spider-Man type movie. Really happy with the way this one turned out. And there you have it, guys. That is my review for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. And as always, catch you later.